full time and enjoy the session we're having today because our speaker is already in the building. So I'll just say brief things before we commence with our speaker. However, I know you might be hearing about the upcycle architect Tupa. Tupa is the upcycle architect, and then it is an organization, social enterprise that relies on looking for ways to beautify our environment, our community, our offices, bespoke items, products, just from wastes. And in this, it is helping with the SDG goals, climate action, and it's actually helping in upcycling waste products into better and more useful products. So first, before I say anything, my name is Jamia Abdul Karim. I'm an enthusiast of environmental and public health wellness. I am moved by anything architecture, interior design, especially sustainable ones. And then I am the operations manager at the Upcycle Architect. And what we do at the Upcycle Architect, as I've briefly explained, is that when you even hear Tupa, because the Upcycle Architect is popularly known as Tupa. I don't know if anybody is on the call before we introduce ourselves. I just introduced myself as Jamal Karim. And then Tupa is 4-letter words. And that is why Tupa is divided into 4. Yes, Tupa is 4-letter words, is divided into 4. The Upcycle Architect one, we have Tupa products. And these are our products, our Ottoman bench, our tables, tire tables, and all our furnitures and our products, design furnitures, all of them, they are all under the Upcycle Architect products. While the second aspect of the Upcycle Architect is the Sausage by Tupa. And Sausage is an initiative in which we train women and young ones in the upcycling of fashion waste, that is cloth denims, and other waste products from fashion, from clothes, and then they use it to create useful things like bags, accessories, and other things like that. Please, Harun Tukur, please, you can mute yourself. Thank you. And then we also have the third aspect of the Upcycle Architect, which is the Tupa Academy. The Tupa Academy is an aspect of the Upcycle Architect that deals with learning sustainable interior designs, learning biophilic design, learning upcycling, learning recycling, climate action, climate change, and everything that Tupa is all about. It's all about teaching and learning. And that is the aspect in which this webinar falls today. So I wish every one of us that is here today an enjoyable moment to learn and unlearn and relearn from the experiences that I'm very sure our guest facilitator is going to actually make justice to today. Also, the last aspect of Tupa is the aspect of the creative upcycle community. The creative upcycle community is a community of over 300 people that are enthusiastic about the community, and then they make sure they learn one or two things. There are lots of events that goes there. We have games, we have educative sessions, we have webinars, we have study sessions, we have activities. We even have grants and opportunities being posted to the group for people that are enthusiastic about the climate change, environment, and other things like that. So that is the 4 aspects of the Upcycle Architect. 4 aspects of the Upcycle Architect. Tupa, 4 words, Tupa. Also, we have the Tupa product. We have the Sausage by Tupa. We have the Tupa Academy. And we have the last one, which is the Creative Upcycle Community. So that is brief explanation on what Tupa is all about. And Thank you very much to Tupa for bringing this wonderful webinar for us. May we learn a lot. So before I move on to give the mic or pass the mic over to our guest facilitator, I would like to introduce who she is to us. So who is our guest facilitator? Our guest facilitator is Sumayyah Adnan Kabir. She is a Kano-based architectural design. She's a Kano-based architect. She's a Kano-based architect and an interior designer. She is the founder of Interiors by SK. S for Sumayyah, K for Kabir. She's a design, that SK's Interior by SK is a design studio based in Kano that delivers interior architecture and bespoke furniture, space planning, and styling solution for residential and commercial clients. The most interesting part, which I find more interesting and most interesting, is that she is a graduate of the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, which is also my alma mater. Her work combines architectural thinking with refined interior detailing. She emphasizes functionality in her architectural work and timeless aesthetics, and then give context-sensitive designs. Her academic research explored regenerative architecture, and sustainable design strategies for Northern Nigeria. She was inducted into ARCON in 2025. Her portfolio showcases contemporary residential interiors characterized by bespoke furniture, custom jewelries, carefully curated material palettes with warm neutral tones. So beyond her professional accomplishments, Sumayyah is a devoted wife and mother of two who enjoys reading and writing. From what I do, I enjoy talking. So she values lifelong learning and strives to balance a fulfilling family with a purposeful career. Please, if we're on the call right now, we can use our clapping emoji to welcome Hajia, architect, Madam Mrs. Sumayyah Adnan Kabir. Please, with a resounding round of applause. Thank you very much. Please, are you in the building? Please, you can take over, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that resounding introduction. And I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you, Tupa. Thank you for organizing such a wonderful event. So I think without further ado, I should be starting the session, right?
Yes, ma'am, you can start the session.
Good. So are we all ready to start the session? If we're ready, let's see a thumbs up or any sort of emoji. Good, excellent, perfect. Good, 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 perfect. So let me share my screen. Okay, I'm sending a request. I have to send a request to share my screen, so I'm sending the request now.
You can go ahead. You can share your screen now.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So excellent. So welcome everybody. Welcome again to this session where we're going to be delving into sustainable interior design. And today is going to be the first session. So as Jamie made the introduction, today we're going to look at, this is a masterclass on healthy, resource efficient, and biophilic interiors. And this is the first session. So, and this session is particularly for aspiring interior designers, architects, interior designers in the field, architecture and design students, and also sustainability enthusiasts. And as he introduced me, my name is architect Sumayyah Adnan Kabir. So just a little about myself, as I've been introduced, but I just want to just say a few things, is that my background is in architecture. and I finished from Ahmad Bello University in 2017. So I further went to pursue an MBA in entrepreneurship and venture creation, specifically specializing in entrepreneurship and venture creation. And I further went to do a master's in interior design. Currently, I'm working on my PhD in architecture. I'm a member of Nigerian Institute of Architects. I'm a registered architect, and I'm also a member of the Interior Designers Association. So I'm currently a lecturer at the Department of Architecture, Bayero University, and I also head and a founder of Interiors by SK, as was mentioned earlier. So a little about what we do is that we offer design consultancy. We offer furniture project management, where we delve into interior design and sourcing of furniture and sourcing for decorations. So these are some of our projects and some of the works we've done. We also offer training and workshop, which is what we are doing now, part of it. And we also sell deco PCs and accessories in our showroom. That's just a little about what Interiors by SK does. So coming back to our topic, today we are going to look at healthy, resource efficient, and biophilic interior design. And this, as I said earlier, is specifically for interior designers, architects, architecture students, and also sustainability enthusiasts. So the content we're going to cover for this presentation is going to cover indoor air quality, ventilation, and biophilic design. So I'm going to be asking our participants I'll be asking questions, and our participants, I would like our participants to participate and answer the questions so that it becomes a very interactive session. So there's something that we call the invisible envelope. So is anybody aware of that? There's something that we call the invisible envelope in interior design. Is anybody aware of that? Just a thumbs up or an emoji would be sufficient so that I know we're on track, that you're following. So nobody? Should I assume that nobody knows that? Okay.
There are people that are aware.
Someone that thumbs here.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, yes, I can see the thumbs up. Okay, good. So that's what I was looking for. So when we say invisible envelope, we actually mean the indoor air quality, which we say AIQ for interior designers. It means indoor air quality. But let's get back to defining what indoor air quality means. So when we say indoor air quality, it refers to the chemical, physical, and biological condition of the air that is coming into our building. So any air that is coming into our building affects our building in several ways, whether it's chemically, whether it's a direct contact, or whether it's biologically. And this affects our health, our comfort, and the general well-being of the people that are inside this building. So as interior designers, we are trained usually to just see the color, the form, the texture, but beyond that, there's the air that is always surrounding us, and that is the invisibility that we're talking about. And it is because it is invisible, sometimes we underestimate it, but it affects our building. And it affects us that are living inside this building. So from research, it has been estimated that we spend about 90% of our lives indoors. So if we spend this much time indoors, then that means we need to particularly be aware of what is happening within our space. So because of that, we have to look at other things that are affecting us as we live in this space. So, and this indoor air quality became more significant and more important with the energy uprising, because once indoor air comes into your space, it's either it makes you feel cold or it makes you feel hot. So in trying to regulate this, we create more harm, or we create another complex environment for our habitation in this space. So indoor air quality is more often than not, 2 to 5 times more polluted than the outdoor air, because the outdoor air is usually moving while indoor air becomes trapped. So when indoor air becomes trapped, it accumulates and it combines with other things within this interior space. And that is why there's a calculation or an equation that we're able to use to calculate the indoor concentration. So this can be found in a book based on Spegler, where he discusses in depth about this indoor air quality. So Spegler says that the indoor air concentration is equals to whatever outdoor penetration we have, plus then we have this in bracket, the indoor source strength and the air exchange. So we'll have this in his book where he teaches exactly how to calculate the indoor air quality. So when we select materials that are emitting a lot of carbon waste and which affect our air, our building becomes very polluted. And this is very difficult also when our buildings are very tight and they do not have a lot of opening that allows this air to go out. So this is what we are talking about. When indoor air comes into our space, it usually reacts with the chemicals, the biological aspects of the building, and also the particulates, other combustible materials that we cannot see. So first, taking the chemical aspect of it. So the chemical pollutants, this is most often, if not from our paints. So we know our paint is made up of chemical materials. So these chemical materials, they emit so many things into our indoor environments. So, and this also affects our indoor air quality. Then we also have our fiber wood, our MDF, our HDF, which also emits also all these kind of chemical pollutants. So that's why when we are buying our paint or when we are buying whatever materials for our building, we should always look out for the eco-friendly materials, because this is what would give us high indoor air quality. Next, we have the biological pollutants. So the biological pollutants are the mold or the fungi that form within our walls, within our furniture, within our textile. We actually cannot see them. Sometimes you might notice something on your walls, but more often than not, they are hidden deep inside our wall and we cannot even see them. And another thing is, one of the only ways to curb this issue is by having a lot of ventilation within our space, which we'll talk about when we get to the aspect of ventilation. Then we also have what you call particulate matter, FM. So these are the fine and coarse dust that comes into our space. So these also settle deep into our materials, into our textiles, without even us realizing. Even on our drapery, our curtains, we don't even realize that. So if all this come into our building, so now what are the consequences? What happens when our indoor air is not of high quality? What happens when we have a poor indoor air quality inside our building? What happens? So there are two things that happen. The first is the sick building syndrome. So are we all together? Are we together? I want to make sure that everybody is following.
Yes, we are together. We are
Thumbs
together.
up. Okay. I will ask questions so everybody gets ready. Okay, so perfect, excellent. So what happens when our indoor air quality is low? So there are two things that happen. The first is the sick building syndrome. So I don't know if anybody has had that experience where, or you've heard from somebody, where you go into a building or someone will tell you that maybe their child has been sick, but immediately they changed accommodation, they changed their house, the child was no longer sick. I don't know, has anybody had a similar experience, or have you heard from somebody something like this? Has anybody heard of something like this? Especially it occurs mostly with children, but even adults, sometimes you would find people saying that whenever they go into a particular space that they become dizzy. So sick building syndrome occurs usually when you have like headaches, or even sometimes even watery eyes, or you become dizzy, or you have cold, you know, or you become allergic, like to the, you just feel uncomfortable whenever you are in this particular space. So whenever you're in this particular space, you just feel a little bit irritated or you're not comfortable. So that is sick building syndrome. And this comes from the poor air quality we have in the space. Then the next one is the building related illnesses. And these are diagnosed sicknesses. These are sicknesses that immediately you go to the hospital, they are diagnosed, because these are illnesses or diseases that have already been, that already exist because of these consequences that we have from the indoor air quality. So our next thing is now to ask, so how, if we can get sickness from buildings, so what next do we do? What do we do about this? So what we can do about it is, number one, we go to the source, and this is the most effective. We go to the source. So what is the source? The source is the materials that we use in our spaces. When the outdoor air comes in, it reacts with other materials within our spaces, or even this material within our spaces are carried along within our indoor space, and they are toxic materials that affects us. So we should always look for eco-friendly materials to use. Even when you go to buy your paints, your boards, you should ask if they're eco-friendly, because eco-friendly products exist. And this is one of the things that TUPA is promoting. So then the next thing is our ventilation. We should make sure that our architects, our interior designers, we should all make sure that we design spaces that are well ventilated. We should have large openings. We should have openings where air flows directly into these spaces and it can easily move out within that space. Then another thing is that we can also use machines that can extract this air from our spaces. So even if you can't buy the eco-friendly materials, you cannot properly ventilate your space, then you should have extractors so that they repel all the dust, all the toxic air within your space outwards. And at least this would help you clean your space. So some points to remember, even if maybe what we've said is too much, I want us to just summarize some of the aspects, is that when we say indoor air quality, we mean how clean or how healthy the indoor air is within our space and how it affects our health, our comfort, and our well-being. Another thing is that since we spend a lot of time in our indoor environments, interior designers and architects, we have the responsibility to create healthier spaces. We should not just look at the beauty aspect of each space, the perfect color combination, the perfect textile, the perfect furniture. We should also consider the indoor air quality of this space. Then we should also avoid tightly sealed buildings. We should avoid tightly sealed buildings because they trap the pollutants, and it becomes very difficult for us to extract this air out of our buildings. So also we should consider that the common pollutants we have are usually from paints, from our wood, from carpets, adhesives, anything that we use, it's part of the pollutants that we bring into the indoor space. So we should consider using only eco-friendly products or products that have low pollutants, low chemicals within this space. Also remember that poor indoor air quality can cause this sick building syndrome. You go into a space and you start having headaches, you'll be feeling tired, you'll be feeling dizzy, you'll even have this eye irritation, your eye will be watery and it will be red. And you would feel what is happening. And immediately you leave this space, you would feel that everything is okay. So it's not your village people that are there that are following you. It is actually the indoor air quality that is low, is poor. So also remember that we have illnesses that have already been diagnosed. And these are the building-related illnesses that we have. Finally, interior designers, architects have to improve the indoor air quality by choosing low or zero VOC materials. In essence, what we mean here is that we should go for eco-friendly products always. So, and we should ventilate our spaces well. We should also use extractors to pull out the polluted air within our space and bring in fresh air into our space. So before we go into indoor ventilation, should I ask my question or should I wait till the end of the session? Okay, someone has a comment here. Very interesting class. Thank you. So should I ask my question or should I wait till the end of the class? Maybe you might even win a prize.
Ask the question now.
I should ask the question. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, who said I should ask the question?
Ahmad is a good.
Okay. Okay, let me ask the question. Okay, so let me give a scenario. So let's say your children go to school, and whenever they go to school, they always start coughing and sneezing. But whenever you pick them up and they go back home, they go back to normal. So what is happening to your children? What is happening to them?
Sick building syndrome.
Hey, congratulations. Ahmed, you have a prize from me. You just got yourself something from me. Okay, perfect. So good. Okay, so let's go to our next topic. So our next topic is indoor ventilation for interior designers. So just like we spoke about the indoor air quality, there's also indoor ventilation. So once you're an architect or you're an interior designer, you need to know a lot about ventilating your indoor spaces. So when we say ventilation, what we mean is the intentional, mark this word, the intentional introduction of outdoor air into your space. So once you introduce outdoor air into your space, you are ventilating the space. But also don't forget that this air that you're bringing into your space has to be well distributed within the area. It has to be well distributed within the area. So if it's well distributed within this area, subsequently, you are removing the stale indoor air or the contaminants within this space. I hope this is understood well. Yes, I hope so. Okay. So as interior designers and architects, we must realize that ventilation is not just about indoor air coming into your space. Rather, there are some processes that go about this ventilation. And the two important processes is, one, that we should be able to maintain the thermal comforts of this space, meaning that if I'm inside a space and I'm feeling hot and there's air, outdoor air is coming, and I'm still feeling hot, then that space is not well ventilated. But if air is coming in and I'm not feeling hot, that means I'm comfortable, then that space is well ventilated. Another thing is that the ventilation, it also regulates the indoor air quality. So even if we have a poor indoor air quality, once the space is ventilated, that means outdoor is coming and is circulating within that space. It would remove all the pollutants and push them out and bring in fresh air for us, the inhabitants of the space. I hope we're all getting it right. Thumbs up if you're getting it. Thumbs down if you're not getting it. Up if you're getting it. Down if, okay, up. Good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So now, the first thing we'll look at is that there's what we call the physics of air exchange and resource efficiency. So every time we introduce fresh outdoor air into our buildings, so if this is our building, So every time fresh air comes into our building, there are two consequences. And the consequences is that it either makes us feel cold or it makes us feel hot. So maybe if you're in an area where it's very cold, like maybe all these climates, all these regions that are very cold, they have very cold environments, the indoor air, the outdoor air that will come into your space is going to be cold. So subsequently, you need to heat your space. But if you are in this area, Nigeria, and some parts of maybe Northwest, Kano, Katsina, you know, the outdoor air that comes into your space is usually hot. So you need some kind of maybe mechanical ventilation to now cool yourself down. So in either heating your space up or cooling your space down, you spike up the electricity bill and you emit carbon emissions. You emit carbon dioxide into your space. So now this is the consequences of what happens when outdoor air comes into your space. I hope I'm not confusing anyone. So when outdoor air comes into the space, two things happen. It's either we feel hot or we feel cold. So in trying to feel comfortable from either our heater or our AC, we spike up the energy and it emits carbon dioxide. So we're trying to see, is there a middle ground between these two things I just said? So let's go on. So to solve this problem, interior designers or designers in general, or people that have studied this area, integrate what we call heat recovery ventilation, which is HRV. And then there's another one also, which we call ERV. That is the energy recovery ventilators. So these two things are incorporated into your projects. So the mechanism is that these systems, they use like structural plates, heat exchangers. So once the stale indoor air is pushed out of the building, so its heat is now transferred back in to receive a cool, fresh air. And also the ERV, that is the energy recovery ventilators, they also go a step further by transferring the moisture along with the heat so that your space doesn't just feel like there's air, you know, that there's also humidity in. And this has been calculated to say that it reduces the energy spike by 30 to 60%. So if we can integrate the heat recovery ventilators or the energy recovery ventilators into our space, we would be reducing our energy penalty, or we'll be reducing the energy intake by 30 to 60%. So this is also another calculation. So for anybody that is very much interested in this topic, there's an indoor air quality handbook, and there's also a calculation that can be done so that you understand how you're going to do it. So the second thing is the passive aerodynamics and the spatial layout of the planning. So if you're not the kind of person that is going to go into this mechanical thing, this calculation, you can also try another aspect, which is the natural cross ventilation geometry. So what we do is we look at which area is going to be the windward side, which area brings in the air. So and from that area, if this is your building, if the wind comes in through this space, so then you create large openings towards this space so that enough air is coming into your space and then it can be exhaled from this part of the building. But if you have the windward side and you don't have sufficient windows, or you block the side, so immediately your space is going to feel very hot or very cold, as the case may be. So the old way was that we use our AC units to blow in the cool air, right? Usually the AC units are above, they're very close to our ceilings. So what we are suggesting now is, while you also have your AC units within your space, we are also suggesting that you should have extractors at the floor level, so that once the hot air rises and the AC is able to extract and bring it with cool air, we know that cool air settles down, so it is also extracted from that heat extractors, so that we balance up whatever we have in the space. because the indoor environment needs to be controlled. We cannot allow the outdoor air to always come in and then give us the energy spike that we're trying to avoid. So in essence, what we're also trying to say is the strategic zoning of these spaces. So we have spaces like the common rooms, the lounges, and then we have the negative spaces like the kitchens or the bathrooms. So you need to have heat extractors within these spaces so that the heat is directly pushed outwards. So some very important points to remember, if what I've been saying sounds a little bit confusing, is that ventilation brings in air. Ventilation is the aspect of fresh air coming into our building. And this fresh air must be well distributed, and it must remove the stale and polluted air within our space. So while we're looking at ventilation, we should also consider that the main purpose of us having ventilation is that we must be comfortable in that space, and we must also be able to protect the indoor air quality within the space. So remember that we do not want buildings that are very tight. That means buildings that do not have large openings. We want buildings that have large openings so that even if our outdoor air comes in, it can quickly escape. So we must also support the concept of cross ventilation, which is having outdoor air come into our space through the windward side and then also leaving through the leeward side, because that's the opposite of the windward side. So we should also consider having extractors within our space so that it removes the indoor air that we don't want. So this is what we'll cover on ventilation. So I'll go back and see if we have any question concerning ventilation. Do we have any question concerning ventilation? Any question concerning ventilation or even indoor air quality, IAQ, or ventilation? No question. So let's get a volunteer to just quickly tell us what ventilation is. And we say ventilation, what do we mean by ventilation? So I can see there's Abdraman Sunusi. Abdraman Sunusi, can you volunteer to tell us what ventilation is?
Yeah, no.
Okay, should I call just anybody randomly? Or will anybody volunteer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you volunteer to tell us what ventilation is? What ventilation is and what ventilation hopes to achieve?
Okay, ventilation is basically supplying fresh air into a room or building. Because
yeah, I got you a bit. Okay, someone is raising their hand. Okay, Suleiman Muhammad Ganadiko. Okay, can you just tell us about, Suleiman, can you tell us about ventilation or what ventilation hopes to achieve? As an interior designer or an architect, when we say ventilation, what do we mean?
So ventilation is the intentional introduction of air, outdoor air into the space. And then it helps to achieve to maximize the comforts within the interior space.
Perfect. Perfect. So let's not forget that ventilation is an intentional decision that we make to allow outdoor air to come into our space. But when the outdoor air comes into our space, that is just not enough. It must be evenly distributed so that we are comfortable in that space. Air can still come into your space, but if you're not comfortable, then ventilation has not been achieved, right?
Yes.
Right? So let's do a thumbs up so that I know that we're all together. Even if we don't really want to talk. Let's do a thumbs up. Perfect. Perfect. So just that people don't want to answer my questions. But we are all together, right? Okay. Perfect. I like that. Good. Okay, you can also chat. You can also put it down if you don't want to talk, you know. Okay, I can see a lot of reactions here. Good, good, good. Okay, I like this. I like this. I like that. That means I'm not alone. There are about 25 people else with me. Good. So now let's go to the most interesting aspect of everything. The most interesting aspect of everything. So this is biophilic design. So when we say biophilic design, what do we mean? Who has an idea? Who has an idea? We have architects in the house, so definitely I know architects know what biophilic is. Or at least have an idea. Okay, Suleiman, are you still raising your hand?
Yes.
Okay, please tell us, what do you know
Design.
about biophilic design?
So biophilic is just designing with nature,
Exactly.
incorporating nature. Yeah.
So Yusra said it also, designing in harmony with nature, perfect. Designing with nature, perfect. Perfect. So I think we're on track. So let's go to biophilic design. So biophilic design for interior designers or architects or sustainability experts, anybody that is interested. So now when we say biophilic design, let's just look at the term first. Then we can easily relate it to whatever we're doing. When we say bio is life in Greek. So when we say philia is the love or affinity to this thing. So when we now bring it up, biophilia is the love for life or the affinity to life or anything, let's say surrendering, something like that, because sometimes philia is more than just love or affinity, like surrendering to nature. So this is what biophilia, the love for life or the affinity for life. So this term was coined by a psychoanalyst who was a very famous biologist also. And this person went into saying that human beings naturally love the environment, love the natural world. Human beings are aligned with the natural world. So in essence, as designers, we must always integrate life into our design because human beings would naturally tend towards anything that has life. So this is the concept of biophilia. And so when we say biophilic design, it is the deliberate, structured practice of integrating our natural environments, our natural elements, whatever we have that is natural into our built environment. So we want our built environment and our natural environment to have a middle ground, to go in hand with each other, to love and have affinity for each other. I hope you're all getting me. So I like this topic. So, and we're just going to go into the core principles because when we talk about biophilic design, there's so many, it's just as creative as you can be. So, but let's just look at the core principles of biophilic design so that whenever we are integrating this into our designs, we understand it. So now we have the first thing, which is a direct experience with nature. So the first step in biophilic design or biophilia is that whatever nature you are having, it must be physical. It must be something that you can touch, something that you can see, something that you can hear, something that you can feel within your space. So if there's anything in nature that you are using, the first step is as the occupant, you must be able to see that nature. You must be able to either see that nature, touch it, hear it, or feel it. That is just the first step that we are going to do. And this is what we call the tangible features. So let's look at it also this way. So these tangible features could be in form of daylighting. It could be in form of hydroacoustics. It could be in form of anything that has to do within our walling. So if we look at daylighting, it could be the amount of light or the natural light that comes into our space. This is something that you can feel or you can experience. Then when we say hydroacoustics, we are more like talking about the water body. Do you have anything water body in your space? Do you have anything that can remind you about the acoustics of nature, the sound of nature? Then we also look at how we can integrate nature into our buildings. So these are all some explanations of what I just said. The hydroacoustics, the active walls. That means having an active, living green wall. So sometimes as architects, we make the mistake of just having artificial potted plants, artificial green walls. No, biophilic design is actually saying that this, whatever we have, they must also be living, because they are also going to increase our indoor air quality. You know that human beings don't need carbon dioxide. So, and our plants, our vegetation, that is what they take in, and then they produce the oxygen for us. So if you can imagine, this exchange is also going to clean our indoor airspace. So don't forget, we've spoken about indoor air quality in the beginning. We've spoken about ventilation. So now by applying biophilic design principles, this is what makes everything come all together. So another thing is, that is the pillar 2. We spoke about 3 pillars. So the second pillar is the natural analogy. So these are the indirect experiences. So what this means is that we have experiences that are not directly tangible. These are intangible experiences, but they remind us so much of nature, like the beehive, the hexagonal shape. Immediately you see it, you would remember the beehive. And this can come in our texture, in our materials, in our paints, anything that mimics nature. And this is something that we also call biomimicry, when we try to mimic nature. So this is also an aspect of biophilia. And if we study these natural things, you'd find that there's a mathematical pattern to it. Yes, there's a mathematical pattern to it. It's natural. It's what God made. So, and by us imitating it, we also make us human be part of this space. You don't feel alien to the space. You feel that you are part and parcel of this space. You are able to relax in this space. So this is what I was saying, the biomimicry. So imagine your wallpaper is imitating the beehive, the citrus design of the lemon, the leafy pattern, it all comes to the geometrical pattern. It all just feels natural and you don't feel alien in the space. Then you have the structural fraction geometry, which I spoke about the mathematics. You have the material multisensory tactility, where these materials remind you the feel, the experience, it all reminds you of nature. Then we have the third pillar. And the third pillar is where the designers mostly from inception come into the space configuration, the space planning. So whenever we're designing our spaces as architects, as interior designers, we should not forget to always incorporate the experience of nature within our space. There must be something that would remind us of the nature. In the way our space is configured, you should be able to pass through a waterfall, to pass through a garden, to pass through a green wall. Within that's your space. There must be something. There must be maybe a natural light source, an atrium, there must be these experiences so that when a human being is going around this space, the experience is completely different and unique. So this is what we mean by biophilia. These are all the aspects of biophilia. So we mentioned three principles. So let's just quickly go back to them. The tangible features, that is one. Then the intangible features, mimicking, that's biomimicry. Then the spatial design, where the architects and the interior designers and all the designers can really, really make an impact to it. So in conclusion, when we say biophilic design, we mean the designing of spaces that help people connect with nature. So, and you know that whenever people connect with nature, they're usually at ease. They're usually comfortable in that environment. So, and we know that it is more than just adding plants or just adding light within your space. It is also to support the well-being of the occupants within that space. So while we use biophilic principles, don't forget that it improves the well-being, the thermal comfort of the occupants there. So we also observe that we should be using the natural daylight to help us integrate nature into these spaces. So we can have plants, gentle water sound. Don't forget that this acoustics, the gentle water sound, is very important for these spaces. You can also use natural textile, natural wood, or things that imitate nature. So avoid overly harsh, cold, repetitive spaces. You don't want repetitive spaces within your design if you really want to achieve biophilic design. So you must also remember that you are going to balance open areas with also private areas. And you can use something like green walls to partition spaces, to make spaces more intimate, and you can make the layouts more inviting. Use curved screens or partial views. So I'm all giving you ideas. All these are ideas. They're not meant to limit your design. Your design can be as engaging as possible. So, but also another thing, or one of the last thing to consider is that every material choice that we make can affect our stress level, and it can affect our focus. It can also affect the comfort and lastly, the health of the occupants within all the space. So far I've covered indoor air quality. I've also covered ventilation, indoor ventilation, and we've also covered biophilic design. So to make the class a little bit more engaging, I have a series of questions that I would want us to just answer. So we can just quickly look at them so that I know after this masterclass that yes, my participant understood the course very well. So we can just be typing into the chat box. So the first question goes, so are we all ready? Are we all ready? Thumbs up. You can use the chat box. Okay, good. So we're going to answer the questions. So you can just put it on the chat box or we can have a volunteer to be answering the question. So good. So when we say, or what does indoor air quality describe? Is it the cleanliness of and health of the indoor or the appearance of the interior? Is it A or is it B? It's very simple. Is it A or is it B? I was hoping we could do this very fast. Okay, yes, we have, okay, wonderful presentation. Okay, we have A. Okay, so someone said A. Oh, someone has even answered number 2. Okay, number 2A. Okay. So now let's go to number 3. What is the best or the first step for improving indoor air quality? Is it eliminating pollution sources or is it adding more decoration? The questions are quite simple, right? A. Okay, someone answered A. A. Oh, good. I hope all my answers are not A. Number 3 is A. So perfect. So number 4, what is the main purpose of ventilation? Is it bringing in fresh air and removing stale air? Or is it just to make our room look bigger and larger? So we have an A. So I think all my answers are A. Number 4 is A. Okay. So number 5, why can airtight buildings have poor air quality? Airtight buildings, is it that they trap pollutants? They trap the moisture and the carbon dioxide? Or is it that they allow too much fresh air inside? These my questions are easy. If it was in class, all the students would get A. So everything is A. So perfect. Okay. So since I have a set of such brilliant participants, I think I will just go through the other questions because everything seems to be A. So, so let's take what can block natural cross ventilation. Is it tall, solid partitions or low furniture? So of course, tall solid partitions block our natural ventilation, and we should avoid large partitions where we have the windward side, where air is coming in. We should not have large partitions within that space. So which space should have negative pressure and dedicated exhaust? So is it a print room or restroom or lounge? So the print room, because it will generate a lot of heat, so we need to have dedicated extractors. So when we say, what is biophilic design? So biophilic design helps to connect people with nature through the design. So 9, what is natural material? Which natural material is used in biophilic design? Cork or raw timber, plastic laminate? Of course, we know it's cork or raw timber because we want to use natural materials within this space. We want the human beings to be able to feel secure while they are within nature, and they won't find anything that is alien to them. So what does the prospect refuge idea, encourage? It encourages a balanced and open view and protected retreat spaces. So I hope we all got it. So I can see that there's some I have a very intelligent set of participants in this session. So people have finished answering all the questions even before I finished. So I'm so happy. So this brings us to the end of this session. So is there any question or any contribution or any comments? I look forward to anyone who wants to maybe make a suggestion, make a comment, contribute, add to the knowledge of what we've already discussed, or any question at all. So anybody?
Thank you very much, Ma.
Okay, someone said, can we get your notes? Sure, definitely. I would share it with the Tupa team.
Yes, Ma. Thank you very much, Ma.
So Jamie, over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, Ma, for this wonderful session. I have learned a lot, a real lot. Please, can you hear my voice, please? I just want to see maybe 1 or 2 people react.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Yes, so this session has been so enlightening and it has been so fantastic and fantabulous. Yes, so I'll just say this. I believe this session, one thing I can say about this session is that no matter which level you are in, you always find this engaging, and then you always get one thing to learn or another thing to learn. So I connected a lot of dots. I heard my ghosts, my grandfathers telling me some things that, yes, things were clicking and connecting. And that's the kind of engaging session we need. Because you see, good speakers don't really speak on what they say alone. Rather, they say some things and leave it to your imaginations to complete it. So I've imagined a lot of things, I've seen a lot of, and I know many of us here have really learned a lot. And then we are thanking you. Please, let's give a let's scatter the space with a resounding round of applause just to appreciate her. Thank you very much, Ma. Architect Sumayyah, Kabir. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. So as we are moving on, before we move to questions and answers, because we're rounding up the session as it is, I will just maybe say my own comment. I've been wanting to talk since, but I've just been reserving it as the anchor. I don't need to be interrupting or to be saying or to be answering questions. That was why I kept mine so quietly. I'll just maybe brief us. But before I brief us a little bit about things that I personally have learned from this session, I would like my boss, big boss, architect Bilkisu Garba, which is here with us and it has been listening, to please help us appreciate our guest speaker and help us thank her on behalf of the Upcycle Architects and thank our audience too. Then immediately after then, we move to question and answers. And from there, we start rounding up the session and then we move on. Thank you, Ma. Please, Ma, if you are available, you can unmute your mic and we're listening, ma'am.
Thank you, Jamil. Thank you for anchoring today's session. Sincerely, like Jamil said, I personally have learned so much from today's session. Thank you, Architect Sumayyah. It's been such an amazing journey, and it's been such an honor to have you join us. I know from your tight schedule, chipping in at this time to go through this particular topic. It's been such a pleasure having you. Thank you for sharing from your wealth of knowledge, and we hope this is the beginning of further collaborations with you and Interiors by SK going forward. And to every participant that joined, thank you so much. We truly, honestly appreciate you for taking our time to be here with us. And I mean, if there's nothing you've taken from today's syndrome, you definitely would have taken what sick building syndrome is, because almost everybody in Nigeria is experiencing that in one way or the other. So thank you very much, and see you guys in the next masterclass. Over to you, Jamil.
Thank you, Ma. So honestly, I'll really say, okay, let's ask our questions now. Anybody that have a question or two, you can either drop it in the chat box or you can indicate by raising your hands. So I'll call you up and then you ask your questions, and our guest speaker is going to respond to our questions. So, but as she's responding, I'll just go through that. Thank you very much. I really learned a lot of things. And then one of the few things that I really learned was when she spoke about ventilation and other things like that. They are like key things that I really jotted, and I was like, yes, because you see, people misunderstand the way things are, and they feel like, okay, yes, I feel that's why I typed something the other time. I said ventilation has to be an exchange of air, the air coming in and equally the air also going out. And it can be by natural ventilation or a mechanical one. So a lot of things like that. And then she gave explanations on how that the importance of ventilation to remove contaminants from air, pollutants, and then to regulate comfort, a lot of things like that. And then ventilation is close to IAQ, that is indoor air quality, though they are not the same. However, they are close to each other. High ventilation or good ventilation most likely leads to good indoor air quality. And then indoor air quality is majorly the condition of cleanliness of air inside the building. How clean the air in your building is the IAQ of your building, and then relating it to human health. Yes, that's to health, and then to comfort of the clients. So a lot of things went through my head. I was just jotting, I was just writing, and the session has been fantastic. And or should I even move to Biophilic design, where it just pierced my head and scattered my brain. I'm really, really impressed, and thank you very much for this. Probably I'll come and pay for your paid session and come and attend more classes. Yes. So let me check the comment section and see if we have questions. I was almost going to say this before. Please, if you have questions, you can drop it in the chat box. I was almost going to say, I don't think anybody has any questions to ask, because when a lecture like this is so clear and so clean and it's questionless. So, but okay, let's take it on another dimension. We'll have like 5 more minutes for everyone to, if you want to give a contribution or you want to appreciate the speaker, please, you can show that by a raise of hand. You can contribute to what has been learned. You can add 1 or 2 or give a suggestion. And then secondly, you can also help us appreciate our speaker. So please, I'll be waiting for you to raise your hands. Thank you. Probably I should call names, or probably we should appreciate her and add it in the comment section. Looks like everybody is shy, or probably everybody's in a noisy environment or busy.
We have someone's hand up, Samsung SM. You can go ahead with your question. There's someone's hand up.
Okay. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, good evening.
Evening.
Yes, thank you for giving me this opportunity to chip in one or two things. Let me start by introducing myself. It is like the device name is there, not my name. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, my name is Professor Architect Ibrahim Algali, a lecturer from Bayero University, Kano.
Welcome,
So,
Professor.
thank you so much. This lecture, in fact, is one of the best one I've enjoyed in recent times because it is things that our new generation architects need to know, especially they are just being taken over or have been overwhelmed by aesthetics outside without minding what the inside could be. If you look at very beautiful 3Ds they are producing nowadays, yes, they are good. They adore our neighborhood. But some buildings, if you check the design properly inside, these three things she mentioned, particularly two, you hardly find natural ventilation. You get cross ventilation, inward and outward direction. Secondly, hardly you see them considering use of natural lighting. You see dark corridors and dark foyers and what have you. Then above all, you see them incorporating these biophilic elements. So I think this lecture is apt. I wish to categorically say that Sumayyah, you have chose the right topic to talk, especially for this young architects that are coming up now. They are just being immersed in aesthetics outside, thinking of how the interior should be. If I see my house very beautiful, but I enter inside, it's not comfortable, then it's not conducive for me to live. I have to be now thinking of the energy I have to use to make my interior conducive. Then the aim is defeated. So I think this kind of lectures need to be repeated on and on. The organizers, I have to commend you for granting us the opportunity to share this precious knowledge. These kind of lectures usually don't come for you, but you people, out of your magnanimity, you decide to make it free. I've shared these links to so many people and they all promised to join, and I have seen some who have joined. So we actually thank the organizers and thank Architect Sumayyah. May your pen never dry. Thank you so much. That's my comment.
I mean, thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate this. So you see, we don't know. That's just how things are. And then you can see commendations. Thank you very much, Professor, for gracing our event and then for listening through everything our architect has said. I really appreciate your comments, sir. Thank you, sir. So if anybody has another comment, please, you can indicate by raising your hand. And then if there is no comment in the next minutes, then we'll be planning to round up the event and close for the event. Thank you very much. So I will just wait for a minute, 60 seconds. Okay, Suleiman, please, your hand is up. Please, you can speak. And I think one other person raised their hand, but they dropped it. So Suleiman, you can go ahead.
Good evening. I want to appreciate Dr. Sumayyah for a wonderful lecture. And then I also want to ask, I need a bit of clarity about HRV and ERV. Like, I just want a few examples of these ventilators, the heat recovery ventilators and the energy recovery ventilators. What are the specific examples that can be used? So thank you, ma. Hope you got the question. Hello.
Okay, yes, sure. Hello. Yes, I got the question.
Okay.
Okay, ma. Thank you.
So let me quickly go to the slide. Sure. So what we are trying to say here is that when outdoor air comes into our space, usually two things happen. It's either we become cold or we get too hot. So now this type of ventilators, just a minute. Yes. So now to solve this problem, this type of mechanical solutions were created. So we have the HRVs, which are the heat recovery ventilators, or we have the energy recovery ventilators. So both these can be used in our projects. So, but what is the mechanism for this? So this is what is explained here, is that these are systems, they are like structural plates that are just like our solar panels that we have the panels. So they're also something like structural plates, which allows for heat exchange. So it's as if when the warm indoor air is pushed out of the building, its heat is transferred across this thin plates, thin membrane, and then it warms up the incoming cold air and it's allowed to go into the building. I don't know if you get me. The person that asked the question.
Yes, I'm with
Am
you,
I
ma.
clarifying it?
You can give me a bit of example, ma, if there is any device that can be used for that.
No, these devices are already created. You understand?
Okay.
It's
Yes.
just like the way we have solar panels, So you have to go and secure them. You
Okay.
understand? For your
Yes.
project. So they are going to be made specifically for your own project. You have the
Oh,
specification, and then the manufacturers would make it specifically for that project. I'm just explaining the system. This is the system. This is how it works.
okay, ma.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think you've gotten some justifications to that. A little bit of addition is that you see HRV, I am highly trade temperature. I think it's mainly focused on trading of temperature, that's heat. And it does not affect the moisture of the air, while ERV affects both temperature and moisture. So it tries to keep the climate in the house well balanced. That means it works with moisture and temperature. And while HRV is mostly used for places that are freezing, you get like um like cold climate places. While ERV, we have them in both places, and then it also tries to help to maintain the humidity and moisture. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ma,
You're
for your
welcome.
wonderful. Yes, I think there is another person. Okay. Any more person raising their hands or? Yes, I think Sarah Ijanada, you're raising your hand. Please, you can unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I am Sarah Ijanada TJ from EcoCycle, and I want to appreciate, first of all, architect Sumayyah um for this very interesting class. It feels like I'm in the university. You are really a teacher because my note is full. So thank you very much. I appreciate you and I've learned a lot. I also want to appreciate the Upcycle Architect for always organizing these classes and making them free. So I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, want to appreciate you guys, because whenever I see the Upcycle Architect post something about a class, I'm rushing to go and join because I know it's going to be very interesting. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate you all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. So please, if we don't have any more person, then I think we could. Okay. Yes, we don't have any more person, so I think we're just going to end this. Once more, I would like to appreciate our guest speaker, architect Sumayyah Kabir. for a wonderful session, well presented. And then also like to appreciate the Upcycle Architect, my boss, and the head of Super Academy, Architects Blessing, who also facilitated these behind the scenes. She's not here. She doesn't want to speak at all, but there is still many reasons for us to actually recognize our presence here. Thank you very much. And she also sent me a message that the Upcycle Architect, most importantly, holds sessions like this once in a while for people to be able to get more knowledge and then give experiences of qualified and well-seasoned architects to share their knowledge. And also, we also have our paid classes, which run time to time across the year. Sustainable Interior Design, we have a course on that. Upcycling, we have a course on that. We have a course on Biophilic Design, like full course where you have different classes and different speakers explaining lots of things for you. So please continue to follow us. And also in the chat box, we have also sent a link of our social media handles. That is, I'll resend it now. We've sent a link of our social media handles. Please, before you leave, do well to follow us on our social media handles. You can join our WhatsApp community. That's the Creative Upcycle community. You can follow us on IG, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We are optimizing all pages, and then we are becoming more active day by day. And then you continue to see this kind of the webinars that are going to be hosted soon, because the Upcycle Architect's main goal is actually to help the world and change this mentality that our prof has said. So thank you very much, everyone. Once again, thank you very much on behalf of the Upcycle Architects. Thank you very much to our guest speaker. Thank you very much to everyone who attended this event. We wish you a wonderful evening. And most importantly, thank you well to our prof. We wish you a wonderful evening and have a nice evening. Thank you very much. We can exit the call. Bye-bye.